Good evening. We start with Labour's response to the strong criticism by the Chief Rabbi of Jeremy Corbyn's handling of cases of anti-Semitism in the party. Ephraim Mervis, Britain's most senior Jewish leader, said that a poison of anti-Semitism had taken root in the Labour Party. Mr Corbyn said tonight there could be no place for any kind of racism in his party, but refused to issue a direct apology to the Jewish community. The Conservative Party also came under heavy criticism today when the Muslim Council of Britain accused it of denial, dismissal and deceit on the issue of Islamophobia. Our political editor, Laura Kuensberg, has the story.
Anti-Zionism is entirely different from anti-Semitism. Why?
Zionism is the belief in the...
This argument's been raging for more than 3 years. And it burst into the election campaign today. Since Jeremy Corbyn's been in charge, there have been constant accusations that Labour has allowed racism against Jews to creep in.
Mr Corbyn, are you fit for high office, sir?
Right in the middle of this contest, he's right back in the middle of it. A leader of one of the country's main religions actually warning against a vote for Labour. Writing in The Times, the Chief Rabbi says Jews have watched with incredulity as supporters of the Labour leadership have hounded parliamentarians, party members and even staff out of the party for facing down anti-Jewish racism. Claims they're doing everything they can to crack down on it are a mendacious fiction, he says. And Labour's handling of the issue is incompatible with the British values of which we're so proud. The Chief Rabbi suggests a new poison, sanctioned from the very top, has taken root. With extraordinary timing, Jeremy Corbyn was always due to attend Labour's Race and Faith manifesto today. An hour later than planned, he took to the stage, repeating that he abhors racism in any form.
There is no place whatsoever for anti-Semitism in any shape or form, or in any place whatsoever in modern Britain, and under a Labour government it will not be tolerated in any form whatsoever. I want to make that clear.
You Nazi apologist.
His critics aren't sure he's been clear enough, though, in the last few years. There was trouble from his old ally, Ken Livingstone, his remarks about Hitler. Some of Jeremy Corbyn's own past comments and associations have raised eyebrows too. And anti-Semitic abuse in the Labour Party led to 2 Jewish female MPs leaving. Labour says firmly they are making a huge effort to get to grips with the problem. But Rabbi Jonathan Romain believes there is real anxiety among the Jewish community.
For the first time, Jews have been looking over their shoulders. It's just something we're not used to. I'm born in Britain, I'm a British citizen. You know, Britain is my home, my values. Never has a party made me feel different.
In exchanges with the BBC's Andrew Neil tonight, though, Jeremy Corbyn was resolute in his approach, refused to say sorry.
Wouldn't you like to take this opportunity tonight to apologise to the British Jewish community for what's happened?
What I'll say is this. I am determined that our society will be safe for people of all faiths. I don't want anyone to be feeling insecure in our society, and our government will protect every community against the abuse they receive on the streets, on the trains, or in any other form of life.
Try one more time.
No,
hang
hang on a minute, Andrew. Can I explain what we're trying to do?
You have, and you've been given plenty of time to do it. I asked you if you wanted to apologise.
Andrew, I don't want anyone to go through what anyone has gone through.
And you've said that several times. I understand that, Mr Corbyn. I was asking you about an apology.
They sold it to you.
The Tories are happy to condemn Labour's position in this campaign, but have their own problems with Islamophobia, accused today of turning a blind eye and being in denial.
We're having an inquiry into all forms of prejudice and
You're having a broad inquiry, but not one into the specific allegations of Islamophobia.
And because if anybody is convicted, if anybody is done for Islamophobia or indeed any other prejudice or discrimination in the Conservative Party, they are out first bounce.
The Muslim Council says the Tories' approach simply is not good enough.
The Conservative Party has a very specific problem with Islamophobia, be that among councillors or party members or MPs or even the Prime Minister. It needs to recognise this specific problem.
The Liberal Democrat leader said the Chief Rabbi's warning could not be ignored.
We should take very seriously the concerns of a community within our country that is genuinely feeling unsafe and think about what that says about our politics, that is because of the actions of the leader of a mainstream party.
Why do you think the Chief Rabbi thinks you're not fit for office? The Labour leader's long said he's doing everything he can. There is little sign, though, this ugly moment in our politics is anywhere near at an end. And I think that the Labour leadership is very frustrated by all of this. They say again and again they're doing everything in their power to try to stamp out this problem in the party. It's worth saying, of course, as well, there are plenty of people in the Jewish community who still back Jeremy Corbyn, who may well be preparing to vote Labour in this election. But I think Jeremy Corbyn's refusal to apologise will make it hard for them to change the subject on this. Remember, Labour is being investigated by the official body, the Equalities Commission. Worth saying, though, too, there are calls for the Tories to undergo a similar inquiry by that same body to check out the allegations that have been made by the Muslim Council into racism against Muslim people in the Conservatives.
As we saw, Laura, Mr Corbyn took part in that BBC interview this evening. Of course, as we saw, he was pressed on the anti-Semitism issue, but there were other pressure points too, weren't there?
Yes, absolutely. We know by now in this election campaign, don't we, that Jeremy Corbyn has hugely ambitious and radical plans for increasing public spending in this country in this election. And his mantra all the way has been that only the very wealthiest and big businesses will be the people who pay for that to happen. He's always said that people further down the income scale, working people, will not be hit by his plans. But he was pressed to admit tonight that two changes in particular, one to smaller private pensions and to the marriage tax allowance, could mean that after all people on more modest incomes might see a change and could be worse off by the changes that a Labour government would make. Now, of course, Jeremy Corbyn's point is other changes they would make more broadly would see a rise in income for people who are further down the bottom scale. But there's no question we are about to enter the final fortnight in this crucial election campaign that really does represent a significant junction for the country, and the pressure on all sides, Hugh, is really beginning to intensify.
Laura, once again, many thanks. Laura Kuenssberg there, our political editor, with the latest analysis on the